Hi guys, this is Ravikant Bhat from IDBI Capital, and I will be sharing my thoughts on the bi-monthly policy announced by RBI today. There was quite a bit of a surprise in the policy. There were expectations of 25 to 50 basis points cut in the policy repo rate. Uh, we were expecting the rate cut to be around to be at least 25 basis points, but RBI delivered a surprise by maintaining a status quo. Now, there are quite a few implications over here, and while it's being interpreted as some kind of a shocker, this has to be understood in a specific context. Now, RBI has always articulated that the policy will always be tracking the headline CPI, and based upon that, RBI has been articulating its monetary policy stance. Expectedly, the whole thought was post demonetization there's going to be a deflationary trend, or at least a downward pressure on inflation, and that was kind of creating the basic foundation of this expectation that the policy rate would be cut. RBI has been very clear in its assessment when it has stated that on the contrary, quite to the contrary, that the inflation will be going down. There actually is inflexibility in certain aspects of the inflation, barring vegetables again. The food prices are not exactly showing downward flexibility, and again you also have the volatility in the crude prices, and therefore using this as a context, RBI, while projecting 5% inflation, exit inflation for the fourth quarter of FY17, has chosen not to alter the policy rate. So there's another angle which some have been discussing, that Fed is expected to raise, and therefore we should logically follow up on some action. Again, we need to understand that the monetary policy in India is firmly placed in a certain context of the inflation targeting framework which has now been adopted, and therefore irrespective of what the Fed does, RBI would be clearly looking at targeting the inflation that is necessary for our economy, and therefore adopting a policy that goes to achieve this inflation target, which RBI has decided. Now the inflation range is tracking that, and therefore in the context of this whole inflation targeting framework, one should not really look at this as any kind of shocker. The other November 26th, and while doing that, RBI had stated that it was a temporary measure. We too have been saying and been expecting that it would be unwound sooner rather than the deadline of December 9, but nonetheless, it's getting unwound from the fortnight beginning December 10, and thus the entire CRR, or rather the amount which was sequestered from the system, would return and would subsequently be absorbed under the MSS options, which have been announced now. So clearly, from the bank's perspective, we have been of the opinion that any sequestering of liquidity should not be in the form of CRR, which is quite a stringent tool actually to do this. And like in the past, when MSS had been utilized to sequester enduring excess liquidity from the system, this MSS option will be a better tool. So subsequently, what we are going to see is more amount of liquidity from the system getting absorbed through MSS option. Currently, two auctions have already been done. One has been announced. 1.4 trillion would be in MSS by today, and we will see more of that going forward. But what happens is MSS gives banks the freedom to decide how much they want to really put into this instrument, and as we see, this will be positive for private banks, as they have been reporting far better credit growth, and therefore the CR was actually turning out to be more punitive for them. This would help them generate positive spreads from any excess deployment, if at all they have to do in MSS. So broadly, the way we should look at this is RBI has stated the stance of the policy is going to be accommodated. Anyways, there is excess liquidity in the system, and in that sense, the operating rate tends to be reverse repo rate since RBI is actually absorbing liquidity rather than supplying liquidity to the system. We believe rates are going to stay soft. They might get softer going forward. Banks have already started cutting deposit rates, and the transmission through NCLR should follow. The base rate has stayed stiff. So as loans migrate to NCLR, we are going to see a more system-wide transmission happening. So the next policy will happen in February. We should look forward to a more clearer assessment of the economy and the inflation, by which one major event of Union budget would already have passed.